Kudus has talked about Thiago being his favourite player and Anfield being the best stadium he played at when he was at Ajax. A perfect match, maybe. I hope so, Aaron. I very much like Kudus. Again, though, it feels like one of these weird situations where why do we wait so long? You know, why didn't we make that move when he was at Ajax, when West Ham did? This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe and secure from hackers. Using Surfshark, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries or other streaming platforms like DAZN in Spain for all those important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. Everything. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe from being hacked if you use public Wi-Fi. Let's say you're in a cafe, you're at college, you're out and about, they've got you covered. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning you can share your account with friends or family or that neighbour who's a little bit cheap. On top of all of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can also upgrade to Surfshark One, which includes the VPN, an alert system for breaches related to your data, such as emails and credit cards, and an antivirus software for your desktop. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for a little over €2 a month, and you'll get an additional 3 months free. Simply scan the QR code on screen right now or use the link in the description and enter the code Anfield Agenda at checkout. Kudus is by far the best African midfielder I've ever seen, said London pro player. Look, yeah, I'm happy to talk about the Mohammed Kudus stuff, mate, and we will move on to that in a few minutes because there was a bit of a... How do I say this? I don't want to say the word exclusive, but there was a confirmation around Kudus earlier on. Actually, I'll talk about it now, to be honest. David Ornstein was speaking about release clauses, and he was talking about a couple of players, and he said Kudus and Paqueta have release clauses in their contracts, so there is a possibility that clubs come in for West Ham's most notable names, and they can generate significant resources for the new manager. That new manager, of course, going to be Julian Lopetegui, after it was confirmed last night that David Moyes will be departing West Ham at the end of the current campaign. So that's good news, because I know how fond of Kudus many of you guys are, and I'm certainly not against the idea of it myself. If there is a release clause in there, I'd like to know what the number is before we know if it's realistic or not for us. But I think, should we do a poll? Should we get a poll on the go? I think we should. Hang on 1 second. We'll get a poll on the go. Right, so should we sign Kudus? Yes or no? I was actually, you know what really surprised me a bit? A lot of people in the video I did about Arne Slot's possible future 11, a lot of people didn't like the idea of Elise. Some people loved it, but others really didn't rate Elise. These type of things are genuinely intriguing to me because I would have thought everybody would have been all over the idea of Michael Elise, but there you go. Just shows you we all have different views on these things, and that's absolutely okay. According to his Wikipedia, Kudus plays on the right, so would he not go straight into Salah's position if Salah left? So when I look at West Ham's lineups, and you'll see Kudus on the left side with Bowen on the right side, and that kind of threw me a little bit when I was doing my video, because initially when I was doing out the transfers, I had got Kudus in over Elise, and I guess I somewhat second-guessed myself because when I looked at how West Ham line up, I kept seeing Kudus on the left side of their attack, and I got into my own head then and I thought, because I thought he was a right-sided attacker, or a right-sided midfielder, or a right-sided winger, or whatever way you want to phrase it. So I got into my own head a little bit, and then I just second-guessed myself and ended up putting Elise in there. So, yeah, that's what happened with that one. Because, like you, I would have assumed right side. And certainly if you came into Liverpool, that would be the area of the pitch that I think were most in need of competition, the right side of attack. I'm okay with Kudus as long as the AFCON is to be played in the summer. The AFCON does my head in, mate. You know, it goes summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter. I wish they'd just make a decision. Now, I know sometimes it's dependent on what part of the continent they're playing it in. Sometimes I think it's rainy season in one area. I get that. But it's the disruptive, I guess, for European clubs or any clubs. If a player, you sign them and you think, okay, they've moved the AFCON now to the summertime and then it goes back to the winter. Because whatever way you look at it, it is a big disruption to a campaign to lose any player for a tournament for a month in the middle of a season. So yeah, I wish we could get some clarity on an absolute certainty of what's happening with that moving forward. Do you think Edwards will find a smart signing to replace Salah, and do you think FSG will back Edwards due to their effort to sign him? So I hope, we'll start with the latter part of that, Harry, if you don't mind. I do hope that they back Edwards and Hughes, because you're right, they did make a big play to sign him. I guess the fear that we all have is that we end up at some kind of super Moneyball type thing where we're again looking to be almost too clever. Sometimes, yes, there are diamonds to be had. Sometimes there are bargains. Look at Andy Robertson. Genius. Absolute genius signing. But sometimes you need to spend the money, right? And sometimes you need a Virgil van Dijk or an Alisson Becker. And you have to go out there and spend. So I'm hoping it's a mixture of both. But again, I can understand how anybody is concerned. And also, and I can't say this enough, FSG are cheap. People, I feel like I've got too soft on our owners lately, and summer transfer windows are usually the time where I speak up most, because I do think, yes, Jurgen Klopp covered up a lot of our deficiencies. He's worked miracles for the owners, but Arne Slot, whilst he's going to be a good coach, isn't Jurgen Klopp, and we need to make sure that we're challenging, you know. Again, look at the net spend stuff that we spoke about the other day. I still have the numbers here. I see this was doing the rounds again today, actually, the net spend thing. Where is it? So here it is. So these are big six clubs and the major trophies they've won with their net spend. Now, all of this period is since Jurgen Klopp has come to Liverpool. So just start off with the net spend, right? Because it's pertinent to what we're talking about here. Since Jurgen Klopp has been at Liverpool, our net spend has been £346 million. Now, net spend means after player sales. So basically, we've sold X amount, we've bought X amount, and we've ended up spending £346 million after we've recouped money. So that's over a 9-year period, which is what? 9 fours, 36, just under 40 million a year, about £38 million a year. So if you look at that, and then you look at what Manchester City have spent, £630 million. Not all that much more, like, 40% more than us. But it gives you an indication, okay, they've spent more money. But where it really starts to show up is when you look at Chelsea and Manchester United. In the same 9-year period, they've both spent £1 billion. £1 billion net after recouping money. Even Arsenal have spent 702 million net. And Spurs 570 million net. So we're by far and away the lowest net spenders in the transfer market. But we're expecting managers to go and challenge. Now, they're not inextricably linked, but there is enough in history to show that you do have to spend. If you really want to challenge and win stuff, then your net spend does have to come up. And we have the ability to do it. We have the ability to do it because we're in no trouble for profit and sustainability. None. So Liverpool can spend more money. Now, the fact that we freed up Thiago and Matip's wages is a lot of money. Between them, it's about, I think it's about 14-15 million pound a season just by getting those two guys' wages off the book. So I hope we spend. And as I said, Jurgen Klopp's been working miracles against other clubs who've spent a lot more money than us, and yet we're still expected to challenge. So the owners have to pony up. Kudus has talked about Thiago being a favourite player and Anfield being the best stadium he played at when he was at Ajax. A perfect match, maybe. I hope so, Aaron. I very much like Kudus. Again, though, it feels like one of these weird situations where why do we wait so long? Why didn't we make that move when he was at Ajax, when West Ham did? And it's a similar situation that I said about Inacio as well. Here we are talking about maybe signing him for €60 million, when last year we were still talking about him, but we were talking about him at €40 million. And I feel like the club sometimes cost themselves quite a bit of money waiting around for an extra year or so. Virgil van Dijk is another great example. He was recommended to Brendan Rodgers by Gary McAllister when he was at Celtic, and we turned our nose up at it. Cristiano Ronaldo could have been at Liverpool, but Liverpool's money men didn't want to pay £10 million for a teenager. You know, football's full of these type of stories, and Kudus, he's proven he can do it in the Prem now. So for me, I don't know what the clause is, but if it's anyway realistic, I'd be all over it. Craig, if we got those players you mentioned, they might not be the same player and be as good. Maybe not, but we would have found out for a cheaper amount of money than having to pay the premium we ended up paying. Because remember, we have taken risks before that backfired. The likes of Lazar Markovic, as an example. Remember, we had to buy Chelsea out of their first option on him. And yeah, that one we took too early and it didn't work out. So maybe there's something to be said about allowing these players to continue their development elsewhere if you're happy to pay that premium.